Hello, it's Joy Holden here, and I'm continuing the interviews with the volunteers at Envision. And today I have a lady called Kathryn, who I'm going to ask several questions, and she is going to tell us about her experience working for Envision as a volunteer. So thank you, Kathryn. First of all, how long have you been working for Envision as a volunteer, and why did you apply?
Well, I've been working with Envision for about 9 months now. And the reason why I chose to volunteer with Envision and with the Talking News particularly was because it was something that I'd done years ago. So I first was involved in Talking News back in the early 90s, actually 1992, 93. And that was in a totally different area of the country. I was living in Swindon in Wiltshire. And I'd recently started work for WH Smith in their head office there. I didn't know many people, so I was looking to do lots of activities and to meet people. And just round the corner from where I was living was the Society for the Blind and the Talking News paper. And they had a poster up looking for volunteers, so I went and joined them. Very different setup to Envision here. It was a much smaller operation. It was just one local newspaper, the Swindon Advertiser, and groups of volunteers read from that 45 minutes worth, and then on the another 45 minutes of general magazine type features, which is sort of similar to what we do here. But in those days, of course, it was cassette tapes. So technology has moved on quite a lot now. And I was just involved in mainly just doing the reading from the Swindon Advertiser, occasionally choosing the stories. They had one person each week that would choose the stories to be read. So I did that for several years while I lived in Swindon, very much enjoyed it. And when I moved up to the Fylde Coast, which was about 15 months ago, I had finished full-time work, taking quite early retirement with my husband, and again looking for things to do and things to get involved with. And I thought, came across Envision actually there was a stall at the local park near where we were living in Lytham. And I saw the Envision stall and it mentioned Talking Newspaper. And I thought, wow, I did that years ago and I really enjoyed it. Perhaps that's something I should look to get involved in again. So I contacted Envision and I had some correspondence with Jane and I met with Jane. And then I came to work at the Talking News. So that's how I came to be involved with Envision.
Thank you. Very good. It's interesting, isn't it, that something that you've enjoyed in the past and you think is purposeful is something that you want to continue with. So what qualities and skills do you bring to Envision with your volunteer work? What type of work are you doing?
With Envision and the Talking News, I'm involved very much in the production side of the Talking News. So when I became involved in Envision, I realised that there were lots of volunteers to do the reading of the different newspapers that we do. And of course, it's a much bigger operation than I had been used to years ago, producing a lot more kind of audio content each week. So the similar kind of purpose and ethos, but just on a sort of a bigger and I have to say it's probably slightly more professional scale, really, in terms of both the equipment and the standard of the audio that's produced. So I realised that there are already plenty of volunteers happy to do reading, but there weren't so many volunteers for the production side and using the sound editing software and using the recording equipment. And I thought, that sounds interesting. Not something I'd really done before, although I'm reasonably okay with computers and software and things like that from my working days. And I'm also up for learning new things. And I think particularly when you take early retirement, you need to keep your brain active. And I want to be learning new things. So this was ideal, really. So I've got stuck into the editing and the sound recording and helping Mike with putting together the final offering each week, which is good. So deciding what different features that we might have. We have our regulars, but also we have some one-offs and different things and how we can develop it to respond to what our listeners would really like to hear each week.
And Mike is the sound engineer here. So how much help has Mike and others given you as a new volunteer?
Oh, absolutely, masses of help. So when I first started, Mike was also a volunteer, and there was another chap who was producing the Talking News. And then fairly early on, that person moved on, and Mike then got the role of the Talking News coordinator, really, and really, really enjoyed working with Mike. He's very, very organised, which is great. I love that. So it's a really kind of nice operation to be part of. Really, it's we know exactly what we're doing kind of each week. There's a variety of different roles that you can take, and it's that really good feeling of working with Mike and with the other volunteers as well to produce something each week that is the sort of the best quality that we can produce, and we know is very much appreciated by all of the listeners.
So for those people who may be thinking and listening to this, thinking about becoming a volunteer, how assuring can you be that once they've applied, everything will be done professionally to help them settle in? What your experience sounds a good one.
Yeah, very much so. And I was very impressed by Envision and how they operate right from the very start. So I met with Jane. There was a process, an application process. I came and visited here so that I could see the kind of the operation that goes on. Met with a number of people before I made a decision to, yes, go ahead with volunteering. And it was all very professionally done, and they kind of, make sure that both sides are happy with what you're going to be doing. There's lots of options in terms of what you want to do as a volunteer. So there's opportunities to do different things. But if you want to stick to the same thing each week, then you can do that. So I've sort of committed to doing one day each week, and it varies a little bit according to what else I've got on in my life, but also in terms of the needs of the Talking News. We have a slightly different schedule each week depending on which groups are involved. So sometimes it's better for me to work on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Monday, so we can vary it around, which I really like. So, but it's good, and it's one of the highlights of my week. Really, I really enjoy being involved because you feel that you're producing something that is useful and entertaining, reaches large numbers of people across the Fylde coast who might otherwise not hear all of that local news. And it's interesting too, and it keeps me up to date with what's going on locally as a relative newcomer to the Fylde coast. I really like to know what's going on in the local area, and I found it, it's entertaining as well as being kind of instructive and using my brain and having great fun. And the other thing about Envision that I've been really impressed with, and kind of ties into my professional career, really. I kind of had two careers, but my the last sort of 25 years of my working life were working within the disability field. So I supported disabled students within higher education through a number of different universities. And as part of that, very much the ethos is a sort of a phrase that is nothing about us without us. So having disabled people very much involved at the heart of facilities for them. And one of the really good things about Envision is that there are key senior people within the charity that have lived experience of vision loss. And I think that's really important, and I think that really kind of sets the ethos as well for the whole kind of charity. And I'm really pleased to be part of that. And I think that is very important. So it kind of links with what I was doing kind of professionally, but in a kind of fun, practical way, really, to produce something that every week is I know very welcome each week, and provides that local news and interesting features as well from across the region and sort of national kind of publications as well. So pleased to be part of that, and also the wider Envision charity as well. I think it's great, and I find it really interesting because we're on the same site as the Princess Alexandra Home, and all of the different activities that happen at Sharples Hall. I like to see all the people that are kind of are participating in that, whether it's the Learn to Dance or Chair Yoga or the Social Club. On a Thursday, there's been recent classes on cooking for visually impaired people, which has been great. I know there's a technology kind of lessons going on at the moment as well, which is great. So it's nice to be part of that wider kind of provision that Envision provides.
You've covered so many attributes of Envision in your response, and thank you for that. And you've, I think, conveyed how easy it is to become a volunteer and how satisfying it's been for you. Have you, in your role as helping with the sound engineering, in your role with that, have you had a chance to meet any of the residents or clients here? And what do you think they are getting from it, from the people that you've spoken to?
Yes, I have had that opportunity, which is great. So I've met a number of the residents from the Princess Alexandra home, and I'm always very impressed by the residents and their liveliness and all of the activities that are going on. It has a really nice kind of atmosphere there. We have a couple of volunteers from the home that help with the Talking newspaper. Ray and Dennis. Ray, who was very recently 97 years old. He's a fantastic character. I love seeing him every week when he comes over and he sorts out all of our envelopes and our address labels. And it's great, and it's very inspiring, I think, to have those people that are so active in much later life, and I think that's a really nice. So it's great to be able to mix with other volunteers and with other kind of clients as well, and people that we see that come to the Low Vision Centre or Sharples Hall for different activities. And that's really nice to be able to see the kind of the people that you're providing the talking news for. I think that's really good, and we love it when we get feedback from people, whether they write a little note in their pop it in their envelope, or we get an email or something like that. It's great to have that feedback.
Final question, Kathryn. How fortunate are we to have Envision in this area of Blackpool?
I think we're incredibly fortunate. I've been so impressed by all of the work that is done by Envision on a weekly basis. It's really good that we've got such good provision in this area and such a good setup that covers all of the Fylde coast and provides lots of opportunities for people to get involved and to socialise and to learn new skills and have fun. So I would certainly encourage anybody to get involved, whether it's as a volunteer. I mean, you don't have to make such a big commitment as once a week like I do. There's lots of people that are involved on a regular basis. But, some people might come once a month, and it's all equally valuable, and it all adds to a really good provision for people in this area. So we are very lucky to have it. So I would encourage people to get involved, whichever way suits you best.
Kathryn, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.